Thank you everybody for joining us today. This is Alex Montrose with Moncord, and today I brought on a special guest, Justin Richards. He's been a longtime client of ours, top producer in the area, and on board with regards to kind of bring a little flavor to how you guys do team building, what's made you successful over the course of the last few years, and share with the audience, I think, maybe some challenges that you have faced, how you've overcome those things, and walk away with maybe some tips that you can kind of share with them.
Great.
With that said, do you want to give us a little introduction? What's your kind of specialty, and a little background on your business?
Great. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Hi, guys. Justin Richards, Keller Williams in downtown Bellevue. I've been a broker now for 14 years here in the greater Puget Sound, Bellevue, Seattle marketplace. A few years ago, I took on the opportunity to build a team to help diversify my business. My background has primarily been focused on buyers and investment strategy. Of course, we handle all aspects of real estate, to and including the most recent addition of a commercial element to our business. But Alex, you had brought me into the conversation to talk about teams, and you've had the opportunity to work with us as our transaction management company for, well, I don't know.
It's been a few years. Yeah. I mean, even prior to actual Moncord forming, I know Lisa was part of your team and helping you on the transaction side. Yep. So I know from a team perspective, we've seen you grow and succeed. What has been, or what have been some of those challenges that you've faced over the last few years around developing a team? Because I think a lot of brokers out there that we're talking to today are in that growth mode, trying to understand what that looks like for them. So yeah, any insight you can share with us on what those challenges were and how you overcame those?
Well, in more than one occasion, I put the cart before the horse, and so I took on opportunities to either bring in talent agents to produce revenue, and then I had more business than I knew what to do with and manage. And that was really where the conversation with you and Lisa came into play a few years ago, which was that the conversation that I was having with myself really in terms of development was, well, how do I do this? I didn't want to bring on people into my team that I was writing a check to every single month, whether we were producing or not. And so the conversation with Lisa began at that point, because I'd utilized transaction management to a certain extent over the last 10 years of my career. But the one piece of that I didn't allow for was that I didn't hand everything to them, right? So one of the things that you guys have really been a blessing to this collectively is, as a value proposition, is you guys save a lot of time for us, and that's huge for me, because I can then take a lot of this and go, here, this is on your plate. Much as if it would be the case if I had somebody in-house sitting at my desk right here in my office that was doing that day in and day out, right? And the nice part about that is I don't have anybody I'm writing a check to every month, whether we're doing 15 transactions a month or we're doing 5, right? Whatever the number happens to be. And so that was a big piece for me, because you guys are as much part of my team as any of the agents that I have on my team as well. So that's probably a big piece for me.
Allowing, I think, that scalability, I think, has been, at least our services, allowing you to scale when the ebbs and flows of your business. From a cost perspective, I think has been, I think it's a huge benefit that we provide, at least our clients. But thank you for sharing that, because I know that's been a key differentiator in how we service our clients, in the sense of not putting a fixed cost per month basis, but knowing that we're a part of your team. We're going to grow with you. We're going to expand and contract appropriately as your business kind of goes through any given year. So,
well, I look at it like it's kind of an equation of, if you build it, they will come, right? And you guys have already built it, and so I can then recruit to grow my business with that, and I don't really have any additional overhead because of it. I don't have to go find the next person that's going to be that admin that's handling all of the I would say, calling it minding our P's and Q's, right? You guys are already doing that for us, right? And so that becomes your problem, right?
It becomes our burden, right? The training and all of that stuff we have to incur becomes our burden, but that's something that that's our business, and we find a lot of pleasure in that. So it's good.
Awesome.
the pain.
Well, there's pain first, then pleasure.
There you go. Pain first, then pleasure. Right. So, well, thanks for sharing a little bit of insights there. I think I think what would be kind of cool, could you share, give us a few tips on going into 2018. What are some tips that you can share with the audience, some of these brokers that are looking at, how do I develop a team that they could walk away with and possibly implement going into the new year?
My dad always told me when I was a kid, the analogy he used was measure 3 times, cut once. And I would say that I've taken that and attributed that to what I do now with my hiring process. For the longest time, I was, for lack of a better way of saying, an open door policy. If you were willing to do the work, I was willing to bring you into the organization and guide you, and you were able to take advantage of the value proposition that we offered as a team. One of the over time was that somebody's version of what is hard work and smart work is different from the next. Yeah. And so now, as we've developed, 3 years into really the growth of this organization, to give you perspective, so when we first started this a few years ago, my production had always been, 8 to 10 million, 12 million, something like that, on my own. And then as we progressed forward in developing new people, 2016, we did about 42 million. 2017 will be 51, 52 million. And as a point of reference in saying that, we actually lost four people this year, moving them on for their reasons or our own. Yeah. And that was really just an alignment piece of it, right? So getting back to the root of the question is making sure that you're aligned with the people that the people that you are bringing on are in line or aligned with what your
mission, vision,
culture, all of it.
All that's,
Surprise, surprise. There's some really big companies out there that if you follow that, they grow. And so, ironically enough, I add that into my business, and sure enough, it works better. Strange.
No, culture development, and people, and I think it's one key aspect that when we've seen successful teams grow, they're all working in unison, because they know that they're all going towards a common goal and striving for the vision of the company, whatever you call it. I think that's really critical. Is really understanding that people matter. Yep. And bringing on the right people will will exceed that, or will excel that growth for you. But bringing on the wrong people can quickly bring you down pretty fast.
Well, I look at it this way. This was probably the pivot point in my business, is that for anybody in the sales industry, we look at our customers as those, especially in real estate, our customer is the person that's buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Okay. Right. That's as a traditional real estate agent. As a broker, team operator, as I am, right? I have 2 different types of customers. I have the customer that I just laid out for you in this conversation, and then I actually have my agents. My agents are as much my customer as anything else. Good because point. Effectively, when I'm, as part of my value proposition, is we create lead opportunities that other agents may not already have, or I should say otherwise have. And so in that equation, if my customer over here isn't happy, that's not good. If my customer over here isn't happy, that isn't good either, right? And so I have to make sure that I am in alignment with what I've told my agents that we are going to do pushing forward, right? Yeah. And so that's probably the biggest piece of advice that I can give to somebody watching, that if you're building it, choosing to bring somebody into your organization, they are your customer as much as anybody else is, right? That's
a good point. Having that internal customer, external customer view, and then potentially having a plan in place to how you're going to address both, I think is critical. Yep. One last question I have, I think would be good. At what point do you bring on, let's say, a buyer's agent? Just a basic kind of because I think that's a good first, what would it be? A showing agent, buying agent would be maybe a first kind of hire on top of the admin stuff, right?
Well, I think my answer might be different than what you might see in other conversations, and that's not a bad thing. I think I think whatever works for you is what works, right? I agree. And so for me, I kind of skipped a few of those steps, and there were some painful points because I did that. But I think, first of all, in my model, I don't have an outright buyer's agent. I don't have a showing agent. Okay. My agents are able to do what comes
both
their way.
Listing, buy. Okay, got it. Okay.
Right, and I have influence in either side of the transaction, so that it goes the way that I want it to go. But I think that for the agent out there in the marketplace that is busy, that wants to leverage their knowledge and get more time back in their life, I think that you can start very easily, with an admin. That's probably one of the best things. And if you don't already have a transaction management setup going for you, Alex is the guy to talk to, Alex and Lisa. And that's an honest plug. I don't mean to kind of cheese this up a little bit, but I really do mean that, is that you guys have saved me so much time, so much money, so much energy, really. That, I mean, it's not something I could ever repay to you guys. I really mean that.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And so to an agent, though, that's out there that's looking to grow, transaction management and assistant would be a good place to go. But if you're looking for somebody to help you manage your buyer business, your listing business, whatever it happens to be, wherever your shortcoming might be, that's a great place to go. But make sure that they align with what your goals, and make sure you have it outlined to a T so that they know exactly what it is that you need from them to do day in, day out, and make sure that you set standards, right? And so there's that was one thing that early on I didn't have standards that I have now. Again, warm body. Right?
Yeah.
And we were profitable. I'll say it this way. I've been profitable on everybody that has come into the organization. But there are others that have risen above that. And it's not about numbers. I'm not specifically saying that about numbers. I want people to be here because they are driven and motivated. And you should want that same thing in your organization too, because you have your goals, and ultimately having somebody else is something that you get to that next level for your business and in your life by having somebody else here to help you. Yeah.
Wow. That's some good insight. And I think the traditional model, you know, I like your approach in the sense that I would say you're creating a bigger ceiling for that person on your team to be able to grow with you and alongside you, right? Versus, you know, potentially, you know, somebody gets plugged into as a showing agent and then they grow into a buying agent, but maybe that buying agent position kind of becomes flat, there is no future beyond the buyer agent, right? Apart from going on your own, you know, kind of thing. But I like the aspect of, and the way I see it is creating that higher ceiling so that everybody can grow together and succeed as one team.
Be competitive. One of the things that was, I'll say this to kind of close this out.
Sure.
But one of the things that was an eye opener for me was that when I started asking questions to some of the agents on my team, and I said, "Hey, who do you define as your competition?" Right? In sales, it's competitive, right? And in many of those instances, the competition was always me. So then I had to raise my lid, right? Yeah. And so that was an eye opener for me. I never expected that. Yeah. They're always looking to me. Why are they in competition with me? Because they want to be, right? Which ultimately is how we started to align the people that needed to be here long term. Right.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, I think we've taken up much of your time. I know you're busy trying to wrap up everything for the holidays. So thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
We love doing business with you. We can't thank you enough as well for the support you give us and the ability you've been part of allowing us to grow. And a lot of things we've learned a lot of things just working with your team. We've been able to make adjustments based off of your workflow. So just know that you've added a tremendous amount of value to Moncord, and we really appreciate that.
I apologize for some of those sleepless nights.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So with that said, everybody, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate your time. Look out for the next video, and we'll be talking to you soon. Have a great day. Thanks everybody.